Добрый вечер, друзья.
Good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen. Good evening,
Сегодня мы с
friends.
вами будем разговаривать о митохондриальном здоровье. Надеюсь, слово митохондрии для всех известно.
Today we are going to talk about mitochondrial health.
Если неизвестно,
I
то, конечно
hope
же, я
you
вам
all
расскажу.
know the word mitochondrial. If
Хочу
you
начать
do not know it, I will explain it.
Академика Российской академии наук Вотчила Бориса Евгеньевича.
I would like to begin with the words of academician of the Russian Academy of Sciences, Boris Votchev,
Основоположника клинической фармакологии, который в 1961 году
he is the founder of clinical pharmacology.
мы живем в век,
In
когда хирургия
1961,
становится все
he
более
said,
безопаснее, а терапия все более опаснее.
"We are living in a time when surgery is growing safer while therapy is increasing
И если
riskier."
бы он жил сейчас, наверное, он бы сказал чуть-чуть по-другому.
If he lived
Он бы
today,
сказал, мы живем в 21
he would
веке,
probably
медицина
say it
становится
a little
все
bit differently.
а образ жизни
He would have
становится
said,
все более
"We
опасным.
live in the 21st century when medicine is becoming increasingly safe and our life is becoming increasingly harmful."
О чем же мы будем говорить сегодня? Мы будем говорить о том, как
What
с
are we
помощью
going to discuss
своего
today?
образа жизни, как с помощью
We are going
ежедневных
to discuss
привычек увеличивать
how,
увеличивать
using our
количество
lifestyle,
энергии как
our daily
физической,
habits,
так
how to
и
boost
интеллектуальной, так и эмоциональной.
our energy, physical,
Этим я
intellectual,
занимаюсь уже 10
and
лет.
emotional.
И эти 10 лет
I have
я
worked in
посвятил
this
тому,
sphere for 10
чтобы
years,
научиться самому иметь максимум энергии, и теперь я учу своих
and
пациентов,
I devoted these 10 years
студентов, врачей и всех желающих
to learn to have maximum energy myself, and now I'm teaching my students, patients, doctors, and those who want to do it.
Итак, я представлюсь. Меня зовут Тарасевич Андрей Федорович. Я заведующий кафедрой превентивной персонализированной медицины Института
Let me
междисциплинарной
introduce
медицины.
myself. My name is
Города
Andrey
Москва.
Tarasevich.
Я руковожу
I'm the
Центром
head of the
персонализированной
Preventive
медицины
Personal
в Сити Клиник
Medicine
Ланцет. Это Москва
Department
и
at the
Геленджик.
Institute of
Я являюсь
Interdisciplinary
российским
Medicine
экспертом
in
по
Moscow.
митохондриальной
I'm the head
здоровью.
of the Center for Personalized Medicine
Темой
in the
митохондрий
network of
занимаюсь уже
Lancet
10
clinics,
лет, как
Moscow
научном,
and
так и
Gelendzhik. I
практическом
am a Russian expert
плане. Я
in
эксперт по
mitochondrial health.
КБИ, 35 лет работаю в
I
медицине, и
have studied
последние
the
10 лет
topic
я
of
занимаюсь
mitochondria for 10
превентивной
years,
медициной.
both scientifically and
Если бы
practically.
мне
I'm an
сейчас
expert of
было всего
the
2
VILAVI
минуты для того,
company.
чтобы постараться объяснить
I've
вам,
worked for
как
35
вообще
years in medicine,
можно
and
изменить образ
over the
жизни,
past 10 years
зачем
I have worked
нам
in the
было это
preventive
нужно и
medicine.
как это сделать, я
If
бы
I had
сказал
just 2 minutes
следующие
to
слова.
try to explain you why we all need to change our
Болезни,
lifestyle,
к
why
которым
we need
привел
it, and how
наш
to
образ
do it,
жизни,
I would say
невозможно
the following.
вылечить без изменения этого образа жизни.
The
И
diseases,
сегодня в течение
as a
оставшихся
result of
50
our
минут
lifestyle,
я
are
постараюсь вам
impossible
доказать,
to be treated without
только
changing the
изменив
lifestyle.
образ жизни,
And today, in the next 50 minutes, I will try to prove to you that only after we change our lifestyle, we will be able to fundamentally change our health. And I will show you the role and the place of VILAVI's products in this consistent process of the restoration of our health. Of course, when a person is 30 years old or even 40, I remember when I was 45, no one thinks that at some time we will get old, and along with the old age, as it happens with the most people now, we will have many diseases. And of course, it seems to all of us that we are going to stay as young as energetic, and we will never be old. But if we are objective, if we are realistic, we need to understand that in 30, 40 or 50 years, we will become elderly people. What elderly people we become depends only on us, whether we are energetic, happy and healthy, or we are sick and spend our days in hospitals.
Да, меня попросили остановиться. Давайте сделаю паузу, жду отмашку от технической службы.
Just a second. They asked me to pause. Let's make a pause and wait for the technical service.
Так, у нас все в порядке. Мы держим паузу, ждем восстановления звука у одного из синхронных переводчиков.
We are having a pause. We are waiting for the technical service to solve problems with the sound with one of the interpreters. While we are waiting, I'm asking you to write in the chat. Those who hear me, please write in your language from what city you are. It's our standard roll call. Ярославль, Moscow, wonderful, Тверь, Italy. Don't be shy, colleagues. Please write in the chat for me to understand who is listening to me today. Portugal, wonderful, thank you. You are probably the most remote place at our webinar today. Ural, Perm, Istanbul, wonderful. Kazakhstan, Novosibirsk, thank you. St. Petersburg, Udmurtia, Loza village. Izmir, Turkey.
Пермь, Италия, прекрасно. Удмуртия еще раз. Германия, Ставрополь.
A small German town. Perm.
Ну что, давайте, наверное,
Italy, wonderful. Udmurtia, once again. Germany, Stavropol, Moscow, Yekaterinburg.
Тверь, Питер.
Let's probably continue. Istanbul, Latvia, Tver, St. Petersburg, Alanya, Kaliningrad, Kazakhstan, Karaganda, Gelendzhik. Fantastic. I'm smiling because I'm in Gelendzhik myself now. Slovenia. Very nice. Almaty, Noginsk, Tver.
Так, стоп, извините, друзья. Так, здесь мы стоим. У нас с английским языком проблема. Так, Шри-Ланка, прекрасно, Шри-Ланка. Даже догадываюсь, кто на Шри-Ланке. Так, Астана.
Sri Lanka, wonderful.
Казахстан. Новосибирск не спит.
I
Конечно
even
же, но
can
нельзя
guess
спать в
who
такой
that
вечер.
is.
Сегодня, на самом деле, мы сделаем
Кострома,
путешествие
Пермь,
на 2,5
Kazakhstan,
миллиарда лет назад и
Novosibirsk.
вглубь собственного
You do
тела
not sleep. Of
до
course you cannot
размеров
sleep on such an evening.
нанометров.
You're
10
going to have a
плюс
trip
12
today.
степени.
We'll travel 2 billion
Кострома,
years back,
Казахстан, Астана и Бишкек.
deep into our body to the size of nanometers, 10 raised to the 12th power. Kostroma, Kazakhstan, Bishkek.
Я задаю вопрос технической службе. Мне хочется продолжать, но пока меня удерживают. Удмуртия, Красногорск, Казахстан, Шри-Ланка, Новосибирск, Гамбург. Прекрасный город Гамбург, суровый.
Удмуртия, Красногорск, Kazakhstan, Sri Lanka, Novosibirsk, Hamburg. Wonderful Hamburg.
Пока ничего не происходит.
Turkey.
Так, отлично. Мне дали отмашку. Так, я остановился на том, что, находясь в возрасте 35, 40, 45 лет, очень сложно представить себя в
Okay, they
возрасте
signal me to
75 и
continue.
более лет.
I was saying that
Если
when
быть
we are
реалисты, мы
35,
должны
40, 45 years,
понимать,
it's
что
difficult for us
этот
to
возраст
imagine
с нами,
us when we are
конечно
75
же,
or older.
обязательно будет.
But if we are
И мы
realists,
придем в этот
we have
возраст.
to
Так вот,
understand
давайте
that
же попробуем
this age
выстроить
will be with us,
горизонт
of
нашего
course.
планирования на вот
We are going to be that old.
35-40 лет вперед.
So let's
Давайте
try
посмотрим, а какие
to
же
set the
болезни
horizon of our
нас
planning
ожидают в нашей с
for
вами
35,
старости,
40
если
years
мы
ahead.
ничего
And let's
не
see
изменим в своей жизни.
what
И начнем,
diseases
конечно же,
we
с
may
самой
have
распространенной
when we
болезни
are old
сахарный диабет.
if we do not change anything
Вы
in our
видите
life.
работу, которая прогнозирует,
And
что
we're going
к
to start,
40-му
of course,
году
with the most
в
common
мире
disease,
количество больных
diabetes.
диабетом приблизится к
You
1
can see a
миллиарду
study that
человек.
forecasts that
Это
by
значит, что каждый мужской
2040,
будет иметь этот
the
диагноз.
number of
Но
people
при
with
этом
diabetes will approach
каждый
1
четвертый
billion
будет иметь
people.
лишний вес
That
и
means that every
страдать
eighth
ожирением.
person will have this
Потому что
diagnosis.
сахарный диабет – это
At
следствие
the same time,
диабета.
every fourth
Рак
person
в
will
горизонте
be
планирования
overweight
40-го,
and have excess
50-го и
kilograms
даже 70-го
because
года рак на всей
diabetes is
планете
a consequence of obesity.
утроится. Практически все
Cancer
нозологии, все
in
виды
the
рака
planning horizon of
утроятся
40,
к
50, and
старости
even
нас с вами.
70
А это значит, что нас ожидает
will
это в
increase 3
старости.
times.
Инсульт.
Virtually
Вы
all
видите график?
nosological
Они
cancers
впечатляют.
will
К
triple.
30-му году количество инсультов увеличится в 2 раза.
That means
Болезнь Альцгеймера
that's what is
– это
expecting
та
us
проблема, с
when we are
которой
old.
уже столкнулась Европа
Strokes,
и с
as you can
которой
see from the
столкнется
diagram,
Россия, если
the
продолжительность
graphics
жизни
are
России
impressive.
увеличится хотя бы
By
на
2030,
7-8
the
лет.
number of strokes will double.
Вы видите, что с
Alzheimer's
15
disease
по
is a
50 год
problem Europe has
3
already
раза
faced.
увеличится
If the
количество
lifetime of
больных
Russian
с
people
болезнью
increases
Альцгеймера.
only by
И, конечно
7
же,
or
болезнь
8 years.
Паркинсона, которая
You can
также
see that from
минимум утроится
2015
к
through
26 году. К
2050,
26-му,
the
через
number
2
of
года,
people
по
with
отношению
Alzheimer's
к
disease
17
will
году.
triple. And of course,
Что же
the
происходит?
Parkinson's disease,
Мы же
which will also minimum
имеем
triple by
серьезную,
2026 as compared
высокотехнологичную
with
медицину. Но
2018
почему прогнозы
by
вот такие?
2026 in
Давайте
4 years.
разберемся.
So what is
Дело в
happening?
том, что
We are
сегодняшняя
having serious,
медицина,
highly
она
technological medicine.
направлена
But why do we have such prognosis? Let's try to understand that. The problem is that the medicine today is aimed at treating symptomatically. If a person comes to a doctor with high blood pressure, he gets a tablet to lower the pressure. If a person comes with high blood sugar level, he gets a tablet to decrease it. If a person comes with a headache, he gets a headache pill. None of the doctors tries to find the cause of the disease. The disease causes lie in our lifestyle, and first of all in nutrition. It is when we change our lifestyle, we can not only prevent the disease, we can efficiently treat people for these diseases. I will show you an example with the Cleveland Clinic that impresses all people who understand what we are talking about. So let's come to the point. I'm showing you a diagram from an article. You can see the reference. It shows that people aged 18 to 64 who lead an active life and who take care of what they eat get sick virtually 2 times as often. I have shown you the Cleveland Clinic. I will show the results of the experiment, which lasted for 30 weeks. That's the work. It was published in 2011. Just look what fantastic results the people, the patients show. They changed their lifestyle and first of all they changed their nutrition. This paper was published once again in 2011. It is going to be 15 years since it was published, and today there are a lot of works like this now. I'm showing just one. It's one of the first works. Here are the values that were used to check the efficiency of changing the lifestyle. Glucose, triglycerides, total cholesterol, low density lipoproteins, high density lipoproteins. Look at the results. I'm showing you the results obtained just within 6 weeks. At the end of my speech, you will understand why I'm showing you the results within 6 weeks. As you can see, the glucose decreased by 35%, triglycerides by 31%, cholesterol by 56%, high density lipoproteins, good ones, didn't change, and low density lipoproteins decreased by 37%. Here is one more work that was published in 2019, and there they compared the efficiency of changing lifestyle as compared with other methods of treatment of type 2 diabetes. There was a control group. They changed their lifestyle, and there were other groups of patients who used some medicines. What was the conclusion? It turned out that changing of the lifestyle and first of all of nutrition is the best therapeutic intervention among 12 different methods. It is difficult to hear and evaluate it, but just imagine 13 people, 12 of them take medicines for diabetes, and the 13th person just changes his lifestyle and nutrition. And That's him who showed the best results. What does official medicine offer us today, independently of the country? Official medicine offers us the same. Here is one drug, here is another medicine. So go and take the treatment. Let's see how efficient such strategies are. Let's look at a very vivid example. Let's take an example of the medicine fighting overweight, fighting obesity. Here's a diagram with all medicinal drugs that have to reduce weight that have been used for the past 100 years and that were registered, listen up, by FDA. They were officially recognized to be medicinal drugs, but the most surprising thing, over the 50 years, starting from 1973, they were created and registered. And if we have 10 drugs that reduce weight, what should we see? We should see a reduction in weight of the body in the whole world. I'm showing you a diagram. You see a reference to the source, and you can see that over the past 60 years, from 1970 through 2030, we see a triple increase in weight virtually in all countries of the world. There is a question. If we have 10 medicines reducing weight, why are people continuing to put on weight, be sick and die? Now we are approaching the main point. A change in lifestyle is the main strategy in the treatment and in the prevention of all, I would like to emphasize, all chronic diseases depending on age. Why is it necessary to change the lifestyle? I have to say the most important thing. The point is that our health is just 20% dependent on the genes that we get from our father and mother, and it is 80% dependent on how we live, what we eat, for how long we sleep, and what level of stress we have every day. This picture displays best what I have just said. Same age, but they look very differently. Moreover, imagine that these are twins, and just think about what is happening with a person if he chooses some unhealthy lifestyle. Why does it happen this way? I'm showing you a work which explains much in detail that every day, every meal, every physical activity during this day, the period of sleep directly influence the genes. The genes that either make us healthier or more sick. Here you can see a summary of this work. I can only add that nutrients in food and bioactive substances from food will always influence directly the DNA methylation suppression. In a simple language, the food we eat every day and the functional products, food products we are going to talk about today, help activate the genes that are responsible for our health. Let's talk about the simplest definition of health. Health is our style of life. More than 50% of our health depends on our lifestyle. Some works say 50%, other sources say 60%. Depend on that. 20% more is ecology, another 20% is genetics, and 10% is medicine. If we assume that the lifestyle is 100%, we will see that nutrition is the main source of either health or diseases. That's why we are going to talk only about nutrition today, and I hope that if such meetings are regular, we will further discuss physical activity and sleep and the role of VILAVI's products in all aspects of our life, our everyday life. So, once again, why is nutrition so important to keep healthy or to destroy our health? I'm showing you a paper of this year. It was issued on April 29 and it was published on May 6. In this work, we see that if a person is going to live 90 years, during these 90 years, he will eat more than 98,000 times. That means 98,000 times, meaning 3 times every day, we will either impact the genes that improve our health or influence the genes that make our health worse. That's why as far back as 2016, in British Journal of Nutrition, there was an article with the name Insulinic Potential of Diet and Lifestyle. What does it mean? I will translate it. So, what does it mean, insulinic potential of diet and lifestyle? Using this diagram, I will try to explain the main point. The point is that every product we eat has some certain amount of carbohydrate. Every product. It would seem that proteins do not have carbs, but proteins also influence insulin and increase it. So every product has its potential, how it is going to increase glucose and insulin levels. That's the insulinic potential of diet. Today we are talking only about diet. Unfortunately for us, with every year, our sensitivity to carbs changes more and more. Whether we want it or not, we develop insulin resistance. That means insensibility of cells to insulin. In simple words, our ability to ingest carbs decreases in our body. The ability of our muscles to ingest them. As a result, the same product, let's say this sandwich, when we are young is completely safe for our body. It's approximately up to 25 years. And when we are 45 or 65, the same sandwich with the same ingredients will be very dangerous and will cause some pathological processes that will result in obesity and diabetes. In general, that's the evolution of every person. That's called phylogeny. The older we become, the worse is the generation of most hormones. Now we know of 60 hormones. The production of 58 hormones decreases with every year, and only 2 hormones, the production of them, their amount in our blood channels, increase with every year. I will not ask you which of the hormones. I'm going to tell them to you. They increase with the extension of our life. The first hormone is insulin. As I've said, it's insulin resistance and our nutrition. The second hormone is cortisol. It's our work, stress, the surrounding information environment, and our angst. Let's proceed from the theory to practice, as we have already worked for 25 minutes. I'm going to bring up a serious point. Most of you must certainly think about it. Are there any European recommendations that already recommend the nutrition strategy we are discussing today? And I'm showing you this article to answer this question. This article contains recommendations to treat obesity in adults. It's a systematic review and meta-analysis. So in Europe, they made a unanimous decision saying that the fewer carbs we eat every day, the bigger effect we'll get in people with diabetes and obesity, and of course in healthy people. What is a low-carb diet? I would like to devote 5 minutes to biochemistry, just for you to understand why it is so important to change over from a high-carb diet to a low-carb diet. Why? When we eat a lot of carbs, we have our energy level is so small, and we do not have intellectual energy. Let's devote 5 minutes to biochemistry. We all know that we eat and we breathe only for every cell of the organism to produce energy in the form of ATP molecules. It all happens in these subcellular structures that are called mitochondria. 2.5 billion years ago, they were separately existing bacteria, but changes in oxygen concentrations on Earth made them hide in our ancient cell. As a result, multicellular life started on our planet. You see a mitochondria cut in half longitudinally. There are many interesting things. The most interesting are the ferments. There are 5 of them. With the help of them, energy is produced in the form of ATP molecules from the food we eat and from the oxygen we breathe in. If we make a metaphor and say that energy in the body is the same as a flame over fire, we have to understand the biochemical difference between energy from carbs and energy from fats. And to understand what is energy for us, I will give you a simple example. If now all electrical energy disappears on Earth, our webinar would stop. In one day, all countries of the world would have problems. In 1 month, we would have chaos. In 1 year, it's scary to imagine that. So if there is no ATP energy in the body, everything happens even quicker. In 5 minutes, neurons turn off and there is clinical death, and 2 or 3 minutes later, there is a biological death. We always need energy, but there is a big difference between energy from glucose and energy from fats. One glucose molecule gives 38 ATP molecules, and one fat molecule gives 4 times more ATP molecules. Now you can understand that if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, you have low energy level. If in addition to the carbs you eat, you add some fats, you will have huge problems because the carbs and the fats together break, literally damage mitochondria. Let me give you a metaphor. We come by car to a gas station, and along with the gasoline, we pour windshield washer fluid. You can imagine what will happen. Approximately the same things happens in the organism and results in a lot of diseases. We are done with biochemistry. Let's talk about how our lifestyle, our common life, influences mitochondria ferments and energy production. In this diagram, you can see that all aspects of our life today, unfortunately, damage mitochondria. And first of all, of course, the excess of simple carbohydrates. Then it's the lack of motion and so on. We will speak about other things at other webinars. What has happened with our nutrition within the past 100 years? There are 2 most serious events. You can see the first event on the screen. We started eating simple carbs 10 times more than our grandmothers and grandfathers early in the 20th century. And of course, the excess of carbs modified by insulin will always turn into fat, and fatty tissue always becomes the main driver in inflammation. They generate a huge amount of pro-inflammatory substances that cause most of the diseases in our body. I deliberately simplify all the information not to overload you, but I would like to get you interested and convinced. And of course, excess carbs damage mitochondria. That's the work I referred to when preparing for this lecture to say this phrase. If someone is interested, you can find this article and read it. The second problem appeared at the end of the 80s in the 20th century. It's polyunsaturated fatty acids, also called vegetable oils. Here you can see a comparison of olive and sunflower oil. Why is it so important to know and understand it? The point is that vegetable oils, olive or any other vegetable oil, have different amounts of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Just 100 years ago, our family members had a correct proportion of omega-3 anti-inflammatory fatty acids and omega-6 pro-inflammatory fatty acids. This proportion was 4 to 1. Today, as we see, this proportion is 1 to 15 or even 1 to 25. What does it mean? It means that we drastically increase inflammation through excessive consumption of omega-6 fatty acids. You can see on the screen the work that confirms my words. It was published 10 years ago and shows that even if we consume vegetable oils once, any of them except the olive oil increase the risk and the inflammation markers, fat oxidation markers in young people by 50%, and they increase 15 times in elderly people. Just think, 15 times. To understand what it means 15 times more, just imagine on one scale side a 1 liter jar and on the other scale side a bucket of 15 liters. So in elderly people have 15 times more pro-inflammatory markers if they use vegetable oils rich in omega-6 fatty acids. These acids directly damage mitochondria and worsen energy production. So I have shown you two simple examples how simple carbs excess and an excess of vegetable oils damage mitochondria. And now we are going to talk about what we should do and how we can protect our mitochondria. You can see the answer. We have to switch over to a low-carb diet. Only it will allow us to protect mitochondria, and the functional products produced by the VILAVI company will intensify this positive and I would even say curative effect. And of course, the second strategy is pauses between the main meals. I think we will make a separate webinar with the topic of intermittent fasting. Let us summarize what we have just said. to improve our condition, both physical and intellectual, to boost our energy in every cell of the body, we have to switch over to a low-carb diet. And of course, I'm going to give you some free pieces of advice that will help you already tomorrow. Try to exclude quick meals, snacks, between main meals. Be sure to eat seasonal products. Try to make pauses between the main meals as long as possible. And then you can already try some food pauses of at least 24 hours without food, only with water. Now we are approaching the most interesting things. How can we help our body to transfer to a low-carb diet using VILAVI's products? Only such strategy will help the body get energy, be charged with energy. The strategy means that we combine a low-carb diet with some basic VILAVI's products. In the first place, we of course have T8 extra, the most important product, and I'm going to explain you how the polyphenols from this product in this beautiful bottle help us produce more energy than before we start taking it. The first and the most important thing, T8 extra contains dolyhols, fatty acids. They are acids with a branched chain. Then polyphenols, when in the body, when in the liver, they turn into dolyhols. The polyphenols from the bottle, when they are in the body, turn into dolyhols in the liver. And the dolyhols are vital for proper operation of every membrane in every cell. If we imagine that a cell is an inflated balloon or a volleyball, we can understand, those who played volleyball know that if the ball is not inflated enough, it will be uncomfortable to play. If it's overinflated, your hands will hurt when you hit it. The same with the cell. If the membrane is soft, it's not easy for glucose, fatty acids, amino acids, and of course oxygen to enter the cell. If the membrane is rigid, if its density is higher than needed, the same thing happens. Oxygen and nutrients do not enter the cell well. So dolyhols that we get from polyphenols in this bottle allow our body to regulate the content of each cell's membrane and to choose the optimal condition which allows every cell to function most efficiently. It should be said that mitochondrial membrane a mitochondria has two membranes. So the external and the internal membranes of mitochondria in the same way improve their function with the help of dolly holes. It means that glucose in a small amount and the fatty acids enter the cell better. As we know, the fewer carbs there are in mitochondria and the more fatty acids there are, the more and better mitochondria generate or produce energy. That's the first and the main mechanism how T8 extra improve energy production. But there is also the second mechanism, equally important. I'm going to tell you about it. The polyphenols that get into the blood flow partially get to the liver and turn into dolly holes. Another part, unchanged, get into the mitochondria of each cell and help our internal endogenous antioxidants to get. I'm sure you all know what antioxidants are. So regular intake of T8 extra not only improves membranes of every cell and mitochondria, but also increases native antioxidants that fight, best of all, the free radicals with active forms of oxygen, with all the manifestations of stress that every cell experiences today. So T8 extra has two important mechanisms of influence on mitochondria. The first one, improvement of membrane in each cell and improvement of mitochondrial membrane, and the second, improvement of the production of endogenous antioxidants. Two of these mechanisms together dramatically increase the energy production in the form of ATP molecules in every cell. There are a lot of works that confirm these words. I didn't show them here, not to overload the presentation. I have told you about this all in detail. You can photograph this slide and read it later. What else can be added to T8 extra to increase the amount of energy? We are talking here about coffee, about a product that probably every person uses every morning at breakfast. And I'm talking about keto coffee. I intentionally showed here 3 different types of keto coffee just to show how seriously VILAVI's keto coffee is different from all other types of coffee in the market. At the bottom you see small numbers. That's the amount of fats in the coffee. And we already decided that as soon as you transfer to low-carb diet, you add fats. And this is a wonderful way to add fats to your diet. And here's a work that shows that caffeine stimulates multiplication of mitochondria. And as you can see, this is a work of 2022. A picture from this work shows that regular consumption of coffee, especially keta coffee, results in the synthesis of new mitochondria, boosting the energy in every muscle. What else can be added to your breakfast to boost energy? Here I have several options too. Why? This oil contains medium chain fatty acids. Why am I showing three options? Because MST oil from VILAVI is fundamentally different from other oils because it contains polyprenols. We enhance the effect I mentioned. This is a work published in 2018 which emphasizes that MST oil or triglycerides with medium chains increase endurance because there is a higher amount of healthy mitochondria. From this work I'm showing you this diagram. Look at these two big columns. Consumption of MST oil leads to a decrease in the PGC1 alpha ferment, which is responsible for mitochondrial multiplication, and the second ferment, ATP5A, which is HTP, is a ferment responsible for the production of energy. And here, in the control group, as you see, there are practically no changes. So why is nutrition so important? I'm showing you our work that was made together with the Oxford University, and Paul Clayton is a co-author. He works in Oxford University. We issued this work on May 28, 2023, and it is called Perspective of Neuronutrition in Prevention and Treatment of Neurological Disorders. Here we show that using low-carb diet, we can not only improve our cognitive functions, but which is most important, we can decrease symptoms of all neurological disorders. Many people, after listening to this part of the lecture, may say, well, Mark Twain once said, it turns out the only way to keep healthy is to eat what you don't like, drink what you don't like, and do what you don't want to do. I can assure you, over the 10 years of my work in preventive medicine, over the 10 years of work with low-carb diets, both my personal experience of 10 years and the experience of my patients show that it is not so. Low-carb diet is tasty, it's substantial, fatty, and it charges your body with energy. It's, of course, not easy to transfer to a low-carb diet. Everybody knows it and many have tried it. How can I help you? How to get from point A to point B? We will, of course, have regular webinars. I will help you do that. And now, most of you have a unique opportunity to travel this path with my support. I am forming the next group of students for the course How to transfer to low-carb diets. It will start on the 21st of July and everyone can join. Let's talk about the results. What will be the result of changing your diet? I will show you my personal results, results of my patients over the 5 years of working in the Lancet clinic, where I'm the head of the personalized medicine center. I have worked with 300 women and about 150 men. They completed the program and they have results in the beginning and at the end. These are pure data values. Body weight for women within 2 or 4 months minus 8 kilograms, men minus 20. Weight circumference minus 8 and minus 10 respectively. Glucose decrease minus 10%. Leptin decrease. Satiation hormone minus 50 and cholesterol decrease minus 8. Bad cholesterol decrease minus 10. Why did I tell you all that today? We are finishing the webinar today and I would like to finish it with the following words. The world has changed. The understanding of health has changed in the last 20 years drastically, and it means that changes in respect to our health, nutrition, to our life have come. I would like to say that there will be changes anyway. They are already happening, and these changes can be with us or without us. It's only up to us. It depends on what we choose. A healthy, happy life in the next 30 years, achieving goals, enjoying life, satisfaction from meeting with friends, family, children, or we choose a very simple circle: pharmacy, hospital, home. It all depends only on us. That's all for today. I would like to thank everyone who listened to me to the end. I hope this hour was useful for you, and I hope that after today's webinar, many of you will start thinking, maybe it's the time has come to change my life. Maybe I should ask myself one simple, honest question. Am I ready to change my life? If you are ready, here's my hand. Let's do it together. Let's do it together with the VILAVI company. Let's do it with the functional products of the company. Let's do it in the right way. That's all for today. Thank you for participating. I would like to ask you to give some reaction to show you emotions, because I've been talking for an hour with my notebook, and much to my regret, while I have much experience in giving lectures, I can only guess whether my words reached your hearts. If they did, please give some reaction. Thank you very much. I see your reactions. You cannot imagine how important it is for a lecturer who at 9 in the evening is talking to his notebook in his room at home. Thank you. There will be a record, I'm sure. The organizers will have it ready. I would like to say it once again. Dear friends, everything depends only on us. Do not depend on anyone else. Only we need our help. Thank you for your feedback. I understand that
то, что
this
они
past
позволили
hour
нам
was
с вами
not in vain.
встретиться. Спасибо
See you
переводчикам,
again.
которых я старался сильно
Once
не
again, I would like to thank the
загружать
organizers
скоростью своей речи, и
for
поэтому
giving
говорю
us this
в 2
opportunity to
голоса
meet.
медленнее.
I would like
До
to
новых встреч.
thank
До
the
свидания.
interpreters. I try to speak slower than usually. See you next time. Goodbye.